often the success of a business is down to its people. Well, welcome to another Industry Spotlight with me, your host, George Mienie. And here's where we uncover amazing businesses within our industry who do creative things that bring both value to the consumer and to the industry. Our mission in this podcast is to spotlight these businesses for great things that they do. In the world of the internet, as you know, where the car buyer is anonymous, it's become more and more important to build trust and potential customer value online before they experience your brand. And this is the bedrock of the success of any business today, and car dealerships are no different. We've recently drawn to a particular dealership that was receiving a very high CSI score from customers and had both cars from them and found that this was consistent every single time. That dealership, Haval Shelly Beach. And after speaking with Ronald, the dealer principal, it was evident that it boiled down to building trust with the customer. And they at Haval Shelly Beach have mastered different ways and different touch points. And we're going to find out how they do this today. So without further ado, welcome Ronald. Ronald Oelofse is the dealer principal of Haval Shelly Beach. Really, really great to have you here with us today.
Thanks, George. Thank you very, very much. And I hope I have a great impact and people can learn from what I've done with the industry over the last 30 years. My experience that comes through. I don't look that old, but I've got a lot of experience.
Well, that's a good thing. You know, sometimes the experience polishes us in ways that, make us age eloquently or, age gracefully. As they put it. So if you want to go and visit Haval Shelly Beach online, you go to havalshellybeach.co.za. And Ronald, first question, I suppose, is how did Haval Shelly Beach come to be? What is the backstory? How did you get to where you are as a dealership?
Well, Haval Shelly Beach was bought or opened in 2018 when the product came to the country. The owners did own a Isuzu. And when they lost the Chevrolet part of Isuzu or Bates or that group, they had a gap in the market to put in a small car, affordable car, and they took over, or they bought Haval, the franchise in Shelly Beach, which is it's grown and it's filled the exact gap they wanted to fill. In the interim, they have sold off Bates, which is a 3-generation run business. And is concentrated only on Haval, although they left me to run the business, and they've got properties and things they concentrate on, and I look after business for the last 2.5 years. And it's growing nicely and successful, which is great.
So to hear you correctly, 2018. The business is nice and young and experiencing this kind of growth, which is really nice to see. So you say you've been with the business for the last 2.5 years, which sounds to me like you joined them very shortly after it started out.
It was probably about 8 to 10 months old. But the brand is new to South Africa. When I say about Haval, the brand as such, although it's part of GWM, which is the Bucky side of it. And we've come to the Haval side, and that's how long they've been in the country. It's like 3 and a bit years. So since the beginning, since they've come to the country, Bates has been involved with them.
Okay. And so you're doing something right. I mean, it's quite evident. Yes, we know that anybody listening to this, Haval is flying off the shelves. You can't get your hands on a Jolian, am I right? It's very difficult.
Or H6.
Or the H6, you can't get your hands on them. Everybody seems to want them. So discounting that for a second, and I want everybody that might be listening to this, this is not because it's a Haval dealership. We know Haval is doing well as a brand, but there are many other brands that are doing well. But Haval Shelly Beach seems to be standing out from the rest, and it's evident in your CSI scores. So what is it about what you do that builds trust with your customers? You mentioned something before we started this recording about making friends. So tell us about how you build trust with your customers.
Well, firstly, when we do introduce a customer or customer that's coming to our dealership, we are playing very open cards, very transparent to what we're doing, where we want to go, what we're trying to sell them, and then sell yourself before you sell the car. So get to know the customer, speak to him family-wise, what he's driving, where is he from, where does he stay, what is his job function, and we build the trust. That's the introduction to us as a brand. Once you've sold them a car, I've got a very policy in place where we'll call you after 6 months for you to pop into the dealership for like a checkup. We also do a rush check at that point in time. And then, of course, we load your birthday in the equation. So we got 2 contacts for the year. And when the cars are a year old, we actually have a lady that calls to help you renew your license for the year. Seeing as though we don't get reminders no longer. So we try and make 3 contacts a year with the customer. And,
okay.
It's important to make contact. They don't forget about you. Sometimes you'll think they phone them when their car's license is due, and they say, "Oh, I've never heard that before in my life. But thank you." And we do charge a little fee to do it. Of course, it is a cost involved. But yeah, they're very happy to do it. And now with COVID and things like that in the mix, they're happy to let us do it and not them go to the license office. Because when you get there and you don't know the ins and outs, it's very difficult. Then that's not stamped, that's not signed, that's too old, that's too new. And yeah, so that's what we try to do.
Can customers from Joburg do their car licenses through you? Because
no, they don't, but we can refer them to it. What happened is we do. I came out of another brand, which was very customer driven. It was a short stunt with them. Before I joined, I was with another brand. It was you live the brand, and that's what I believe you have to do. If you don't live the brand, you're not on the right case. So everybody that works here, look, there are probably better vehicles out there that are triple the price. But what you get and what you pay, and the breakdown rate is extremely low. Extremely. We haven't got breakdowns. The car's been coding all the time. It's really a stunning brand to work with, and it's a good product at this point.
So, you touched on there that you were with another brand before Haval Shelly Beach. Tell us a little bit about that, because quite often the success of a business is down to its people. And sounds to me like, part of the success of Haval Shelly Beach, Ronald, and, might be kind of talking you up here, but I think I'm doing so in the right context, is down to how you operate. So tell us about, your lead into getting to Haval Shelly Beach. Where were you before that?
I've always been with the luxury brands. Originally, I was started in '84 as an apprentice, and I was 30 years with a certain luxury brand. I don't want to mention it. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, but I don't. And then
of course you are. I mean, it could be Mercedes-Benz, BMW, VW.
Yeah, it was Mercedes-Benz. I was Mercedes-Benz for about 30 years, going through the ranks as apprentice, mechanic, service manager, spent a bit of time overseas in the service industry, and came back in 2006 to sales. Now, I think that's where I've got a big, I'm fortunate in the way where I've got a good head start. Service is service. If you give good service in the service department, you carry that over to sales. Of course, you're used to giving good service, so you just continue with it. So I had a good run with them, and I worked for many years for the same company. And I had a very good VPs that motivated me and grew me to the success of a dealership, going from apprentice right up to a manager. And then I broke away from them for 2 years and went to BMW. And BMW, hands down, they live the brand, and the customers, everything. If I phone any BMW brand in South Africa and ask them to do a license for me, they'll do it free of charge. I'm talking about free of charge for the service. You still have to pay for the actual fee.
Yes.
But they will do it anyway. Deliver a car for you in their showroom, they'll do it with pleasure. And I've been doing that here. When I speak to the other Haval guys that you want to deliver a car for you, I said, with pleasure. We'll give them the best experience. We cover the car. We give them experience with you bought it from us. Because this guy will go tell his friends, and they might buy a car from me. So with BMW was the turning point of being customer service driven all the way.
Well, I suppose, it goes without saying, the most searched for brand on AutoTrader is the BMW brand. But I must caveat that, and that is the Haval Jolian has a search trajectory that looks like a ski slope. the searches for Haval are increasing every single week. So it wouldn't surprise me if Haval ends up in the top 10 or even top 5 in the coming months, because the searches for Haval are just skyrocketing. So you've brought all of those learnings, all of those customer experiences from luxury brands into the dealership at Haval Shelly Beach. So you also mentioned something that is understanding what the customer needs are over selling just any car. What did you mean by that?
People buy first from people that they like. If you sell yourself, first of all, and you are presentable and you're knowledgeable and you listen, because listening is the most important thing with sales guys. They don't seem to listen, they seem to guide you what they want to sell you. So if you listen and you answer correctly and reiterate what they've told you and who's it for and what the use is, and give your best advice. I mean, I very often mention to say, if it's an older couple, which we are, we do a lot of older people, is if I would sell it to my parents, I'd sell it to you. Otherwise, I wouldn't sell it. I don't like to sell headaches. I want to sell somebody that's happy with the product I've given them and the advice I've given them.
Okay, so people buy from people is effectively what you're saying. And then you have this mandatory 6-month risk assessment check after every sale. Do all customers come back for this mandatory 6-month assessment check?
Not necessarily, they don't come back, but it is a reminder. So if you've got a problem ahead in like 8 months or 10 months or 20 months time, you can say, we have called, you haven't come in. Because the cars get serviced once a year or when it gets a certain mileage.
Yes.
So people forget about the once a year, and they're only doing 2,000 or 3,000 Ks a year. The car still needs a service, but they wouldn't service with it. I think it's driven too little. So if you remind them and phone them, it's important because it keeps up with your warranty. So it's very important to tell the customer to come in and explain to you. It's very exciting when you buy a new car. You listen to all the hot points and you forget a lot of things. So on the reminder, it's nice for the customer to come in and have a look. It's good to have a chat with them again. You understand that everything works. If you're happy with that, can you do that? Is there anything you need to ask about? And then also, of course, ask for referrals again. Might say, yes, my sister's looking for a car now, or this, or my brother, uncle, aunt. Always driving sales, offering it with a nice service to go with it.
So out of interest, how many referrals do you get as new customers versus getting brand new customers that are cold and in the bucket of leads for lack of a better term?
I think, of course, we got different sales guys, yeah. Certain guys are very hot on the referrals, and they, of course, are my top guys. I'm not going to lie to you, because that's the way they treat the customer. They get a lot of referrals. Where other guys give a lesser of the acknowledgement or things like that. So they get less referrals. But on referrals basis, I probably reckon we're on probably 50-60% referrals.
Wow. So the success of your business is really built around referrals. And I suppose the CSI score speaks to that, because there's the cliche term that says the best kind of marketing is word of mouth. When you hear about something from a person that you trust, and then that trust extends through that network. So you guys have really capitalized on the referral business, which then brings back very good and high CSI scores.
100% correct. And like I said, if you've got a good experience, you always want to hand the experience on to the next guy, and they're happy about it. I don't want to blow our own horn or anything like that, but the deliveries we've done, we do such a magnificent delivery. Everybody claps hands, everybody comes together. We're only 17 employees for the handover. I've got people that are probably 78 years old buying cars from us that actually cry. They said, I've bought so many cars in my life and I've never been treated like this. So it's something I make it special, because it might be their last car. Although many people say it's their last car. In 2 years' time, they're back buying another car. And I said, I thought it was your last car. Exactly. 2 years later, another car. So it is something we do, and we make sure that it's extremely great experience for the customers. And they want to come to us. They want to come and see us. If you're walking in the street on a Saturday morning in the mall, they'll come and greet you, meet your wife, meet your daughter, chat to you. And Ronald gave us this, Ronald gave us that. It's good to know. It's home, if I can say that.
Well, I mean, a lot of people, do things for the end result, the sale, the money, whatever the case may be. Sounds to me like yourself, Ronald, and Haval Shelly Beach seems to be doing things for a higher purpose. And as an example, at AutoTrader, we want to enhance the lifestyles of people that we connect. So that is the overarching purpose of AutoTrader, is we know that we connect buyers and sellers, but we want to enhance their lifestyles. That is the purpose. We don't want to just introduce them to a dealer. We want to enhance their experience and how they buy a car up to getting to your dealership, and then you take over and hopefully you carry on that same experience, enhancing their lifestyles. On the dealer side, or the car seller side, we want to try and enhance your lifestyle by giving you the best experience, the easiest experience in getting in touch and selling a car to a consumer. So it sounds to me like Haval Shelly Beach, and maybe yourself personally, have an overarching purpose. And it's not just selling cars. Can you talk to, what your overarching purpose is?
I think to have customers for life would be an easy way of saying it. That once you've got a customer now, from my other brands, how many customers still buying Haval from there? Used to, I had a customer on Saturday, which is I'll tell you a little story if I can be honest. He came in to buy a car when I was with Mercedes-Benz at about 4:45 in the afternoon. Extremely wealthy guy, and he says, "What time do you close?" I said, "After I've sold you a car." And he laughed, and we probably spent half an hour, 45 hours time there with him. And when I went to BMW as a sales manager, he walked in, he said, "I'll always buy cars from this man. You've got a good man here." This was his words to my VP, because this was his. And I wanted to come in late after. He said, when do you close? He said, after I've sold the car. So that's just a little bit. So building customers for life is the main thing.
Yes.
And then also, there's nothing wrong to be friendly. If you're friendly, you're liked. And, you mustn't be a pushover. I do get my hair occasionally, and I'm not going to lie to you. But you need to be friendly, and to be friendly costs nothing. And the people like to deal with that type of person. We have golf days where the people come over to you and chat with you. They'll never try side tricks. They always want to see you. It's nice way of thinking.
Well, it sounds to me like you do have a higher purpose at Haval Shelly Beach, but it sounds to me more like Ronald has a higher purpose. And if I think about selling a car to a elderly person that believes this is going to be their last car, I would want to make that experience the best experience they've ever had, because chances are it's their last car. And there's nothing better than, I suppose, walking away from a business with their product. And there's a saying that goes, which you probably heard before, Ronald. It's not what people say that you remember; it's how they make you feel that you remember. And it sounds to me like, Ronald, Haval Shelly Beach, you really make your customers feel the love that that buying a car should exist within.
No, 100% correct. And being that I came from being so long in the town. I've been 20 years on the South Coast, so I handpicked my staff as well. But when I got there, it was almost like a clean canvas. There's a lot of place for growth. So if I look at the staff that's working for me, probably is 80% that's worked for me before. And I've chosen them because they've got it's all about attitude in your heart. If you've got a wrong attitude, you can't teach a guy much. If his attitude's right, you can really mold him to where you want him to be. And they know you have to live the brand. I've told them in the meetings, you have to live. If you don't live the brand, you can't sell it. Because if you've got no trust in your brand, you may as well move on. Like I said, there are better vehicles out there that are a lot more expensive, but affordability in South Africa or in the times now, you've got to look after your pocket. So we've got a very good brand. It ticks all the boxes when it comes to warranties and things like that. So we've got a great brand, and we've got to sell that and live it to sell it.
So, the future of Haval Shelly Beach. I mean, we all know that Haval is flying off the shelves at the moment, and it's helping Haval dealerships be successful because the product is just such a good value for money at its price point. I mean, you do get, I'm sure you'll agree with me, you do get cars that are more luxurious, got better leather, got more sound insulation. Because I've driven the Haval, beautiful car, but for its price point, it's probably a better value for money than other cars at a very similar price point. So that being said, what is the future of Haval Shelly Beach? Because you can't necessarily ride off the laurels of a good car forever. At some point, the tide will turn, and hopefully, because of your ethos and your customer centricity, that will extend to whatever you do in the future. So, what is it that Haval Shelly Beach is shooting for in the future?
Well, of course, we want to get our brand out in the market as much as possible, especially now while the prices are still down. We know, look at the previous brands, as they belong in the country, the brands just creep up in price. So we want to build our car park to a proper size car park, and who knows, we might take on a second product on the floor. But at the moment, is just to grow our car park. We really successful. We've opened up a little satellite branch in Kokstad. We've opened a little used car branch in Jefferson, which is probably about 5 or 10 k's away from us. So we are growing, but we still want to keep it close and personal. We don't want to become a icon that takes over the world. And we were so good at it. That's how we started. We want to stay as we started: positive, lovable, approachable, liked, and taken care of.
How far is Kokstad from Shelly Beach?
About 150 k's.
Okay, because I remember when I was late teens, early 20s, we used to go down to Shelly Beach. It was, it's still a very popular holiday destination, I can't remember driving through Kokstad, probably because we came down to the coast and drove down the coast. So where is Kokstad more inland?
Kokstad's very much inland. You get Kokstad more towards the Berg, that type of area, Matatiel. So you wouldn't go that area. And I think the roads are more, there's no highways as such. So it's more roads, national roads as such, no highways. So if you want to get to Durban as soon as possible, as straight as possible, and then come down the coastline, which is a nice drive here. You can go around there, but then you've got to go through to Pietermaritzburg. And it's not as nice drive as looking at the sea and stopping up and filling up at the garages and things like that, having a breakfast, etc.
Yes,
which
is always a nice kind of like scenic drive. So let me ask you a different question, Ronald. And it wasn't in my plan to ask you this question, but it really just sprung to mind. And I'm pretty sure you'll have a good answer. But in the future of car dealerships and franchise dealerships, because Haval Shelly Beach is no doubt a franchise dealership, selling Haval. And we all know that all the OEMs are shooting for this potential direct model where they want to sell cars directly to the consumer. BMW in South Africa has changed their franchise model from franchise to an agency type model where the fleet of cars is not owned by the dealerships, whereas at the moment, I'm pretty sure Haval Shelly Beach, you actually have to buy the cars from the OEM and stock them, as opposed to the OEM owning the car. Mercedes-Benz is trying something similar, and it was all informed by what Tesla was doing, because Tesla went direct to the consumer, no dealerships. What is your kind of thinking with Haval in the future? Are they going to attempt a similar thing? Or is it something that they keep close to their chest?
I think at the end of the day, like you said, I was involved with Mercedes-Benz when they did do the same business module. And it does definitely take away a lot of personal touch, because you go onto the net, you put in your requirements, build the cars you wanted. You'll be able to do a stock locator, find out the cars in PE or in East London or in Durban. And in that car, we'll just get a call in that dealership and say, the car's there. I think it takes away the personal touch. It also takes away the advice. I know on the internet you can go and search and get all the best advice you want, but the most practical advice is from experience, where you can say to the guy, hey, this is what it does. Will you like it or don't you like it? This is the pros, this is the cons. It might be a nice gimmick to sell and earn you good money, but it's not really practical. Yeah. So and I drove through that, and I didn't like the business model. It wasn't the reason I left Mercedes-Benz. And then I went to BMW, And BMW done the same thing. What worries me, when Mercedes-Benz done it, I think it was about 2017, they said the rest of the world's going to follow suit, but they haven't. We were the guinea pig for the world. BMW's done the same thing with the guinea pig. They can't be that great. I know they've lost a hell of a lot of sales because it's been done. So they've lost a lot of momentum. So I think it probably will go there, because we're trying to distance ourselves, social distance ourselves the whole time, and be more on your own in a way.
Yeah.
It will go there, but it'll be sad, because it takes away the art of selling, number one, and it takes away that personal touch.
Yeah.
So that's my honest. I hope it doesn't go there. But we deal a lot, and I'm saying this with due respect. We've got a lot of people from the Eastern Cape that haven't got the facilities in the cities they've got. Computer, streaming, all this type of thing, where they can go and have a look. When he comes here with his hard cash and he wants to buy a car,
yeah,
he needs that advice. And that's where I think we are great.
So, I mean, that's an interesting point you raise, and ties into the theme of what we were talking about. Is OEMs traditionally don't have, and I mean, OEMs are my customers, but this is the truth of the matter. And I think they would agree with this. OEMs traditionally don't have what it takes to sell directly to the consumer, because we've built this dealership world over 100 years, more than 100 years. So dealerships know how to service their local market, and I think therein lies the nuance, is in that local market. So Haval Shelly Beach, your customers' immediate needs. You know how to talk to them. You know how to get the best for them. Whereas does an OEM sitting in Pretoria, or even sitting in Germany or in China, really know the local customer? And the answer to that is probably not. I think Tesla's success, and this is just my opinion, and maybe it would be nice to know yours. I think Tesla's success at going direct to the consumer is very much because it's a new shiny toy product that everybody wants. With a traditional car, it's a little bit different. I mean, why do you think they've been successful at this direct model?
I think you hit on the head that they came onto the scene so fast and so quick. There wasn't enough time to have dealerships. They wanted to get their product out to the customer as soon as possible. What they also do, and they also look after their margins, because you can only get a quote from one person.
Yeah.
So if they decide to give you a free full tank of fuel or whatever, or a free charge or charger for your home or something like that, is one thing. So they can look after their margins better than with the dealership. But again, you've got to build a deal. Is there trading? Is there no trading? What's the customer's needs? What does he want to pay? That type of thing. I know the general public's opinion about this online buying is that they are fat cats now. They just don't want to give discounts.
Yeah.
So, they just say, if you pick up the phone and you phone Durban, they give you a price, and you pick up the phone and you give Cape Town, they give you the discount comes from the manufacturer.
Yes.
That's it. You get 10% or not 10%, 10 grand, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a fat cat scenario where it's not nice for me to see. But like I said, there are a lot of professional, I always say salespeople are professional people. And you get one guy deals very well with older people, other one deals very well with black people, other one deals well with this. And that you can't get on a computer. You can just click the buttons and say, there's your car, that's the color you want. It's going to be coming to you. When you get the car and say, you know what, this is not really what I wanted. I thought it's like this, but it doesn't work this way. The salesman can take you on a demo, drive the car, touch, feel, smell. Yes, that's what I want, and you go for it. So that's, like I said, it's for me, personal touch is going out the window if that's where they go.
Well, let's see.
Hopefully I'll be retired by then.
You and me both. So let's see where the world goes. But Ronald, that has been epic. And when we are not in a wave and I can get my tail into Durban, I'd love to come and have a cup of coffee with you face to face at Shelly Beach. And I'm pretty sure that Haval Shelly Beach has good coffee.
George, thanks very, very much. Appreciate the call and the setting up the meeting. It's great to spend some good time with people that know what they're talking about and what they're doing. It's awesome. Thank you very much.
Appreciate the comment. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's been Ronald Oelofse from Haval Shelly Beach. And we see Haval Shelly Beach's CSI scores, and they are through the roof. So, go and have a look at what they're doing. I think they've got quite a lot to teach the industry. And on that note, we'll see you next time.
Cheers, George. Cheers, Karen. Cheers.